Hello everyone, welcome back to Blue Fire Toys and Collectibles. Today we got a different kind of video for you. On my right here is my dad. On my left here is my brother. And today we're going to be giving tips and tricks for the upcoming G-Fest. For those of you who don't know, G-Fest is a convention that takes place every year in Rosemont, Illinois in mid-July. This year it will be taking place from July 12th through 14th, with special movies appearing at the Pickwick Theater in Parkridge on Thursday, July 11th. So the reason I wanted to put this video out is because my dad and I have been going to G-Fest every year since 2001, and my brother here has been going with us every year since 2008. So we feel we're more than qualified to give some expert level tips and tricks for the convention that can make your overall enjoyment much better. So, before we go any further, I want to introduce my dad.
Hi. My name is Tony. I'm Pat's dad and Adam's dad, and we've been going to G-Fest for a long, long time, and it's a blast. Very family-friendly atmosphere, and the one we really like going to every year.
And this is my brother Adam.
Hello, I'm Adam. I've been attending G-Fest since 2008, like my brother said, and I've always just enjoyed this convention, and I'm thrilled to be sharing tips and tricks for it.
Okay. So, without further ado, we're going to get into some of the tips and just kind of talk through, between the three of us, different ways that we think these tips can help everybody out. So tip number one that I cannot stress enough, that is a very important one, that is always brought up by the people who run G-Fest: bring cash. Make sure you bring cash to the convention, because a lot of the dealers in the vendors hall do not take card. Some of them do, some of them take PayPal, some of them take Apple Pay, but the majority of them, especially if they're smaller dealers, they take cash. And the ATM at the hotel runs out pretty much on day one, and that's pretty much it for the weekend. Anything I'm missing here on this point?
No, what we do is we spread the cash out so it's not all in one pocket.
Yep.
Spread it out around your pockets, so
Yep.
if you drop something, you don't lose all your money for the convention. And by all means, have your card, but cash is king, especially in the dealer room.
Yep. And a lot of times, too, dealers are willing to give you a little bit of a better price if you're willing to pay cash. So that's something to keep in mind, too.
Yep.
And speaking of the dealer's room, something I want to mention that is very important, I feel. Don't waste all of your time standing in the dealer's room line. I realize that rhymes. That was intentional. The dealer's room is not going anywhere. It's open from 10 to 5 Friday and Saturday, and it's open from 10 to 4 on Sunday. And you're going to get time in there. There's no doubt about that.
All the stuff you're looking for is going to be in there, so don't worry about rushing in. It'll still be there by the time you actually do.
The figures you see here before us, with the exception of the big one here on the right and the big one here on the left, were all purchased last year at G-Fest, and this was with me waiting a number of hours before I got into the dealer room. So this is proof that you can still get your Shonen Rick exclusive X Plus Godzillas and your X Plus G84s. You can still get a Kiyu signed by Yumiko Shaku. There's still plenty of opportunity to get figures, get them signed by the special guests, without wasting the majority of your morning waiting to get into the room. Anything you want to add on that point?
No.
You were alongside me for a number of years when I wanted to be first in the dealer room.
When con was smaller, it was important to get into the room earlier. The con is bigger now, so you have multiple vendors that are going to have the same product. So it's not as imperative to get in there right away. So don't waste your time Friday morning or Saturday morning sitting in line. Go ahead and walk around the con. There's a lot to see upstairs and downstairs, and enjoy it. And then when the line thins out a little bit, you walk into the dealer room. By 1 o'clock, you'll be able to walk in and out at your leisure.
Yeah.
Another thing that's fun to do is exploring the hotel.
Yeah.
Because the hotel, the Hyatt Regency Chicago O'Hare, is an absolutely beautiful hotel. So yeah, there's a lot to explore just in the hotel itself.
Glass elevators.
Yeah, glass elevators. They go all the way to the top.
Yep.
And then you can just
4
look
of
down.
them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another point, as long as we're still kind of on the cash and the money aspect of things, budget for meals.
Yes.
Yes.
I've heard stories of people who have not planned their budget for their meals for the entire weekend. And all of a sudden they're using a lot of their money that they had intended to use in the dealer room for eating. And that's something you do want to keep in mind because you still have to eat.
And whether you're staying at the hotel or you're just going for the convention itself, bring some snacks. Throw them in your car, leave them in your car. What we'll do often is we'll just go out and kind of tailgate for a few minutes out in the parking area and recharge a little bit on snacks. It helps save you a little bit of money. It's not hurting the hotel. And it's just a good thing to do for any convention.
Additionally, stay hydrated. Bring water. Chicago in midsummer is hot. Bring water, bring Gatorade, because you're going to need it.
And on that same point, don't bring any snacks that have chocolate. Because Chicago in July is hot. Don't leave that in your car. That's just a mess,
Yep.
as we found out.
Yes,
a
that's
couple of
experience.
Yeah, don't bring anything perishable or anything that's going to explode if you leave it in the car.
Yeah.
Again, speaking from experience. So another one that is very, very important, we all feel, is being polite.
Yes, be polite, darn it.
Yeah.
This is a family-friendly convention. There are a lot of very excited, enthusiastic children at this convention. And speaking as someone who was once one of them.
I was too.
And yes, Adam was too. Be polite to them. Be patient with them. There are also a number of special needs fans that come to this convention. Again, be very patient, be very polite. They're just there to enjoy it just like everybody else. And it just makes the whole weekend much better for everyone if everyone just gets along.
Yeah. G-Fest is a con like no other in my experience. I've been to many, and just everybody's a lot friendlier at G-Fest than a lot of other cons that I've been to. It's a truly different atmosphere.
And chat people up. They'll be happy to talk.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to talk Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
We've made a number of friends over the years at G-Fest. Just from the common interest of the big guy right here.
Yep.
The Oscar-winning big guy.
The Oscar-winning big guy.
big
Yes,
guy.
that's
You
right.
gotta throw that in.
Yes. Another thing on cash. Don't spend all your money in one day.
Unless you're only going there for one day.
Yes, in which case, spend it all immediately.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I've come close a number of years. We've been going for all 4 days of the convention now since 2010. And that first year, I was still thinking that we were only going for the one day. So I spent a good majority of my weekend budget by noon on Friday. That was not fun. I got some great stuff, but then for a lot of the rest of the weekend, I had to be very picky about what I bought. So yeah, plan accordingly. And this actually ties into another point I have. Anything that you can buy online, you might be better off buying online because there's going to be a lot more unique things in the dealer room that you can't just go online and buy. And a lot of times they're going to be better prices than you would find them for on eBay or a collector's store or another convention.
Yeah, get that cool, rare stuff. Like back in the early 2000s, they had these like little marble shooters with Godzillas on them. Those were really cool. I bought a ton of those, and I've never seen them since online or at the con.
It's a unique chance to touch all this stuff too. So if you're thinking of buying something and you're not sure because you've seen it online, you like it, you decide you're going to buy it online, fine. Go to G-Fest. Take a look at it. Most dealers don't mind if you ask permission. They don't mind if you pick up and handle the figures. As long as you're very delicate with them, they don't have a problem with it. But it'll give you a good chance to see if that manufacturer is right for you.
Yeah. And actually, on that point, last year when I bought this X Plus, the House of Monsters, where I bought it from, they were very nice to actually open the box and let me inspect the figure before I actually purchased it. which was just phenomenal because I got to look at it beforehand and make sure that I really wanted to spend, the money that I spent on it.
Yep.
And a lot of them are completely willing to do that.
And they're really good people. A lot of them are actually Godzilla fans themselves.
Yeah.
So you can get into some conversations, and if nothing else, you'll find out other stuff they have for sale you might not have seen.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff behind the vendors you think is because it's the higher priced stuff. It's not always. Sometimes it's just stuff they didn't have room for on the main table. It's always worth asking.
And on that point, that's how I got this Ghidorah last year.
Yep.
It was on a back table at a vendor, and I asked him how much it was, and it was completely affordable. He just didn't put it out on the main table.
That's how you got your Gedo Goji, isn't it, Em?
Yeah, it was just sitting there. This is my Gedo Goji. I got it in 2011. Got a great deal on it. And it was just sitting there, and I, being an excited kid, asked the guy about it because I just wanted to see it. My brother bought one 2 years earlier, and the guy said it was for sale and gave me a great deal on it. Dad, thank you very much. I was out of money at the time because, I was like 11, and my dad bought it for me, and this has been my favorite figure in my Godzilla collection ever since.
And a similar story with mine. It was also on the back table, and I just asked how much, and it was completely affordable. So that's the reason we each have one of them.
Always worth asking.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving along, another great tip that we can't stress enough, and we've all agreed on this for years: attend the panels.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You will learn a lot about the genre in panels. You will also learn a lot about the guests in panels. We heard numerous stories about Akira Takarada, told by him, that were just absolutely incredible, including but not limited to the color of the original Godzilla
What color
suit.
was
that was gray. Takarada-san was wearing a gray suit at the convention that day, and he said that the original suit was gray, and he tugged on his lapel and said, "Like my suit."
And this is not the promo suit that we're talking about. This one was actually in the film.
Filming
Yes.
suit.
He said it was gray, and that's from a guy who was in the film.
Yes.
So I take that as gospel.
He did say there was a brown one that they used for publicity shots and some other promotional materials, but the actual filming suit was gray. So that's the kind of stuff you can actually learn by attending the panels, along with a number of other stories about Akira Takarada just in general, because he told so many great
Amazing.
stories.
He told great stories.
But we've heard a number of stories about Ken Satsuma, also, who unfortunately recently just passed away, including one great story I have where I was actually waiting for these two to join up with me after lunch one day. This was in 2018, I think it was. Yeah, 2018. And I was looking at something on one of the walls, and I backed up and bumped into somebody, and it turned out the person I bumped into was Ken Satsuma. So for the rest of my life, I get to tell the story that I stepped on Godzilla, which is very entertaining and never fails to disappoint when I tell other G fans that story. We heard a number of great stories from him the year that he was there.
Been working in the foundry.
He worked in a foundry. Yeah, Ben Faruya was another one who we heard.
Yep, really good stories. The animator that worked for Don Bluth.
Yes, unfortunately his name escapes me at the moment.
He had phenomenal. He worked on Little Mermaid, and he worked for Don Bluth. And Godzilla the series, the cartoon show.
From the 70s,
From the 70s. And he had some great stories about meeting various talent that was involved with the shows.
Including Ted Cassidy.
Including getting knocked down by Ted Cassidy.
Yes.
Ted Cassidy was Lurch famously, and he voiced Godzilla in the 79 series. And he knocked down our animator friend when our animator friend was brand new to the company. He literally walked into him and got knocked on his keister. It was a great story.
It really was.
Yumiko Shaku told some really cool stories. Yes. She was talking about her son, who's, I think he's like 5 or something like that, she was saying. And he's a big Godzilla fan, and he saw her in the movie. He said, "Oh, Mom, you're so cool."
She was a great guest.
Yeah, she was a great guest.
Yes, just go to the panels.
The guests are always great.
Always learn something. The guests are always appreciative.
And other presenters put a lot of hard work and effort into what they do. Yeah. We saw one panel on tabletop gaming history in
Oh,
kaiju.
yes.
That was outstanding.
That was awesome.
Yep.
The Art of Kaiju Writing is a favorite among the three of us.
Yep.
They put a lot of effort into their panels. Everybody does. And it's completely worth sitting in on some of them.
If it's not a panel you're sure you're going to want to sit through, or maybe you have to meet somebody for lunch but you want to see a little bit of it, sit in the back.
Yeah.
Folks don't mind if you come and go, just don't be in the front row when you do it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to getting back to the dealer room a little bit.
Woo!
Everybody's favorite part of
Yep.
GFest.
Yeah.
Make a list of things to look for so you know what you're shopping for. Every year I make what I call a target list. And I put anywhere from 10 to 20 figures that I'm reasonably sure I can find. And I just spend most of the weekend hunting them down. I try to get them for the best price, but sometimes you gotta pay what you gotta pay. Especially if you really, really want to have that figure right then and there. I've been willing to pay from our friendly vendors a little bit higher of a price just because they've been great to me over the years. Particularly Linda at Chibigoji Toys, James Bond at Radioactive Toys.
Especially when you guys were little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were really good to you when you were little.
Yeah.
Linda used to give you candy.
Yes, she did. I cannot say enough good things about them.
Yeah.
Um,
Most of the vendors are really good folks.
Yeah.
There's 2 dealer rooms this year, too.
Yeah, we're not really sure what
No.
that is. One of them has been confirmed as a vendor's hall. The other one is kind of unknown. They've been kind of secretive on it.
They had a hall last year that had some prototype models in it that we weren't even allowed to photograph, but we were allowed to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't know if it's something like that, but that was really cool. Walking through that hall was really cool.
We actually
Ghidorah statue.
we got to see the prototype for the final Spiral Studios King Ghidorah 2019 statue. We got to see it in person, which was incredible. As Adam will attest, when he brought me into the room, I was in mid-sentence, saw it, and literally stopped speaking.
Yeah, it was funny. I had stumbled upon that room because it was kind of tucked away, and we had all separated to reconvene later. We were all exploring different parts of the con, and I saw the room, and I was walking around, and I thought, this is so cool. I got to show Pat. And Pat was he was trying to figure out a decision that he was making on somebody wanted to buy in the dealer room.
This guy.
Yeah. I was like, Pat, you gotta see this. Come on, you gotta see this. I'm like dragging him. It's like, it's worth it. And I get him into the room, and he literally stopped mid-sentence and just stared at the King Ghidorah. It was amazing.
It was beautiful.
It was a
We
fantastic
show you
picture.
pictures, but we weren't allowed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we were
weren't
standing
allowed.
right there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were not going to get any pictures.
But yeah, as these guys particularly know, King Ghidorah from the Monsterverse 2019 King of the Monsters.
Great movie.
I love that movie.
Absolutely. Peak of the Monsterverse. That King Ghidorah is my favorite kaiju, period. He is absolutely amazing, and I think the design is absolutely beautiful.
What a jerk.
So
Yeah.
So when I saw it, when I regained consciousness, I quoted Dr. Serizawa from that movie when he's looking at Mothra and simply said, "Beautiful."
That was something.
Yeah.
Yes. And actually, speaking of this, Adam just reminded me of that when I was trying to make the decision on this figure. This is what I mean by waiting to make some of your purchases. I didn't buy this figure until 4:30 on Saturday. Last year.
That's right.
And it was like very close
Yes.
to the close of the dealer room. And I mean, you've usually got me to talk you in or out of purchases.
I waited the equivalent of a day and a half dealer room time to make this purchase, and I was still able to get it.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that you'll still be able to find. You know, bringing it back to the point a little while ago.
Yep.
But going back to making a list for what you're shopping for, use the websites of the vendors who are going to be there at GFest this year. There is a list posted on gfestcon.com.
Yep.
Use their sites to make your lists. Showcase Daikaiju has figures available, and they will not every vendor will say what figures they're going to be having at GFest, what figures are going to be priced at GFest, but you can get an idea then of what you're looking for and just a baseline for price. I use Showcase Daikaiju a lot. They're phenomenal folks to buy from on their website or in person. They're just, again, super nice people, great prices, great figures.
Well, and a lot of the websites will tell you the type of payment they're going to take at
Yeah.
GFest.
Yes, they will.
And Beast of the East Collectibles is also very good.
Yeah.
A place to go for like vinyls and stuff.
That's where I got this vinyl, and this vinyl last year.
Yeah.
Because they had some of the best prices
Yeah.
on 6-inch Movie Monster Series Godzilla vinyls last year.
That's where I bought my G19, my King Ghidorah 19 when they were first out, and G-Fest of 2019. That's where I got like all my vinyls that year.
And on the same point, have a target purchase in mind. Pick something that you really, really want, get yourself hyped about it, and go in there with the mindset of buying it. Even if it's a little bit more expensive, I know I said don't spend it, but even if it's a little bit more expensive, to have it right then and there, go for it.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
That's happened a number of years to me, where I had something in mind and been able to walk in there and actually find it.
Well, we were at Adepticon in March, and I was going to buy game components. And I grabbed 9 of the 12 game components I wanted for this one particular game. It was all these little modular add-ons. And I was ready to hand over my money. And Pat said, "What are you doing by the last 3?" I said, "Well, I don't want to spend all my money." He said, "This is what you came here for." I said, "Okay, you're right." I bought them. I went back an hour later, and they were gone. I would have lost my opportunity.
The 3 he was passing on were gone, as a matter of fact.
So there are times that you just go ahead and you strike.
And conversely, I went into Adepticon this year without anything in mind, and I spent more than I wanted to.
Yes. That is a trap.
Yeah. So definitely have
some
something in mind.
Have at least a minor list of things to look for. Because I've also done that at G-Fest, where I've gone in blind with no idea what to buy, and I spend either too much or I end up spending it on things I don't really want because I don't know what I'm looking for.
It's like grocery shopping when you're hungry.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
And once you walk in that dealer room, you're going to be hungry.
Yes, you are.
Coming back to X Pluses, actually, I have 2 of them here. I got lucky last year on the prices of these guys. I paid $200 for the Godzilla 84, and I paid $309 for the Rick Godzilla 1993. For anybody in the know, those are phenomenal prices for these figures. They only had 2 of this guy. They only had the 1 of this guy, and this guy I got in person $80 cheaper than it would have cost me to buy him online. So occasionally that changes things, but also occasionally X Pluses can be a little bit more expensive at G-Fest. There were a number of them last year, and I'm not going to name vendor names or anything, but there were a number of them last year that I know you could get for $280 before tax and shipping, that they were charging upwards of $600 for, because they know that
we're excited, it's a convention.
Yeah, and they'll just come in and spend the money. That's a good way to lose a lot of your money unexpectedly because you've got that figure right in front of you. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. Again, not going to name any vendor names, but it does come up, so be mindful. One thing I've found that's helpful over the years is to do a full walkthrough of the vendor's hall, the dealer room, whichever you prefer to call it, before you buy anything. Unless you come across that one-of-a-kind figure you've got to have right then. Back in, I think it was 2014 or 2013, I was doing my initial pass and I came across the Trendmasters Godzilla 1998 micro battle playsets, each one of them for a total of $90 for both of them. And I broke my own rule. I bought them on the spot, and I ended up using over 50% of my daily budget right then and there within the first hour. But I stood by the purchase. They were rare finds, and I actually haven't seen them since. And like I said, that was about 11 years ago that I saw them.
Speaking of daily budget, if you're going to be at the con multiple days, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday that the vendor's room is open, budget yourself per day.
Yes.
That's something we started doing early in our attendance.
Yep.
Because then, when you do get to, You're done with Friday. You get to Saturday. You still have some anticipation. It's not a done deal.
Yeah,
you
no.
have money to spend.
Yeah.
And definitely hold some money back for Sunday, because Sunday sometimes, not often, sometimes you can get that deal for the vendor that just doesn't want to take that product home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just looking to move some stuff. So
have
it's
some- yeah.
possible just to get a really good deal.
If you're going to be there all 3 days, absolutely hold some money back for Sunday.
Also, this is very important. Go to other rooms
Yes.
of the con, the model room, the game room, the arcade room, the art room, especially the model room and the art room. The people who make the models, the people who do the artwork, they put a lot of time and effort into their pieces. And speaking as someone who would showcase his pipe cleaner models for a number of years and his artwork for a number of years, you want the appreciation. So give it back. Make sure you go and see these other rooms.
Yes.
It's absolutely worth
G-Fest
it.
is a lot more than the dealer room, and it's
Yeah.
very important to remember that. It's a celebration of kaiju movies in general.
Yeah. And if you, on that point, if you're looking to sit down for a little while, maybe have a quick nap, which comes up often, go into the film room.
Yes.
They're showing kaiju films the entire weekend.
24/7.
There's some camera.
Not 24/7, but
Yeah, there's some gamma.
It's not 24/7.
There's a full list available on gfestcon.com. But you can go into that room, the film festival room, and just sit for a little while in the dark and watch the movies. You can find a nice place to sit somewhere. There are plenty of seating areas in the hotel. Look at your purchases. Get back on your pins a little bit. Get off your feet. Good idea to do. But yeah, go to the other rooms. Spend some time. You get to know people too. You see people that maybe, even if this is your first time, you see people that you want to see again next year. There are a number of people that we're hoping are going to be there this year that we're looking forward to seeing. So yeah, which brings us, I mentioned the whole get off your feet thing.
Yeah. Nice segue.
Wear comfortable clothes, particularly
Yes.
shoes.
Do not wear
Shoes,
that
yes.
beloved Godzilla shirt that's really too thick for summer.
yes, again, Chicago summers are hot.
They are hot. You run the risk of, even if it's 70 degrees, which sounds beautiful, it's going to be like 100% humidity.
Yeah, we've had that a couple of years.
When you're walking to your car, you're going to be dealing with that, especially if you're not staying in the hotel and you're just up there for the day and you drove. You're going to be going to the car, you're going to be coming back, you're going to be sweaty, it's going to be... Yeah, so wear comfortable clothing.
Also, the dealer room can be kind of close confined sometimes, and human bodies throw off heat. So the air conditioner sometimes in the dealer room gets its butt kicked.
Yes,
You can find yourself really, really dumping sweat if you're wearing that hot, heavy shirt.
Yeah.
And another important thing about wearing comfortable shoes.
Yes.
You're going to be walking around a lot, no matter how much you go and sit in the film room, because you still have to get there and get back to where you were going, right?
Yeah.
So, like, wear something that isn't going to kill your feet, because that will absolutely hinder your enjoyment of the con.
Yes.
Remember the year I did G-Fest on a broken leg?
Yes.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still don't get that, but
Hey, I didn't know this G-Fest.
Hey,
That's
he
right.
had the Godzilla spirit. That's what matters.
yeah, that's the important part.
And another point we want to bring up is every year the Pickwick Theater in Parkridge, which is a neighboring town to Rosemont, is kind enough to host us the entire con for 6 movies. 4 on Thursday, 1 on Friday night, and 1 on Saturday night. Go to the Pickwick.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a historic landmark theater built in 1922, if I'm not... 28. Okay, 1928. It's a beautiful theater. It really is. It's a staple of G-Fest. It's a tradition that you go to the Pickwick.
As the older guy of the group here, that's how theaters used to be before the multiplexes. It's one big room, seats about 700 people, and in 2019, we all sang "There Goes Tokyo, Godzilla" at the end of the Godzilla 2019. It's on YouTube. You can find it. But we all were in there singing full throat. It was one of the best memories I have of G.
Be sure to cheer though when Godzilla comes on.
Absolutely.
Screen.
Yes.
You have to go nuts.
That's encouraged that
Yeah.
you cheer when your favorite actor, your favorite monster comes on screen.
Nobody's going to get mad.
And don't be afraid to be the one who starts the cheer.
Yep.
Yeah. Akira Takarada, whenever he'd come
Yeah.
on screen for the first time, the crowd would go nuts.
But when Godzilla makes his first appearance,
hopefully
especially,
shows up.
we're going to see Mothra versus Godzilla, Godzilla
Yes.
versus Mechagodzilla, the return of Godzilla, and Godzilla versus Space Godzilla on Thursday.
Yeah.
Our hands are going to be sore by the end of that day.
It's going to be a long day.
And we're also going to see on Friday, they're showing Godzilla Final Wars for its 20th anniversary.
A family favorite.
Yes. Dad is actually wearing a Final Wars t-shirt.
I did.
And
We've met Don Fry 3 times?
3 times.
3 times.
Super
nice guy.
He's Captain Gordon in
Yes.
Final Wars.
We met him in my first G-Fest.
Yep.
And he was kind enough to take time out of his lunch break to take a picture with my brother and then take another picture with me. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday night, they are showing Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.
Well, we're going to that one, aren't we?
No, we're not. But we're not going to get into that here.
Yeah.
I'll mention that later on the channel some other time.
We saw it. We've all seen
We've
it.
seen it.
We've seen it.
Yes, we've seen it, which is why we know we don't want to see it again.
Yeah.
Anybody who loves it, more
Yep,
power to you.
Go ahead.
absolutely.
Oh,
I get why people would love it. It's just not for me.
back on track to the point though. Get the popcorn too.
Yeah,
yes,
The
the
popcorn,
popcorn is
is
very
really
good.
good. Maybe try not to use the bathrooms though.
Yeah.
The
men's room is down 17 stairs. It's in the
Yeah,
basement.
and it's a very
Just
narrow stairway.
Be
and it's
careful
always
walking
jammed
down the
after the
stairs.
movie gets
Yeah.
out. So if you can hold it, do
Or
that.
Better still, before you walk into the theater, take care of business.
Yeah.
Go at the hotel
Very
before you leave or
Yeah.
something like that, because it's more that it's overcrowded
Yes,
at the
yes.
Pickwick
You can
than
wait.
anything else. It's a small bathroom.
You can wait
so,
20 minutes.
Yeah.
But especially remember that there's, especially right over there by the Pickwick, there's food places
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
to go.
there are a number of
A
restaurants.
number of restaurants, especially on the Thursday. It's a great way to go get dinner
Yeah.
before the
There's a
festivities
Panera.
of the con.
Panera, there's
Japanese
Wendy's not
restaurant.
too far away. There is a Japanese restaurant on the corner adjacent to the Pickwick.
Yes.
There's another sushi restaurant down the block from the Pickwick, about 5 stores down.
Great American Bagel, I think, is...
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a number of
Within
restaurants
walking
all over the
distance.
place. Within
Yeah,
walking
and you can
distance.
just walk to it.
It's a beautiful area,
Yeah, very nice
Parkridge.
area. Yeah.
Again, though, summertime in Chicago,
Yep,
plan
it's gonna be hot.
accordingly,
Oh, yeah.
gonna be hot, potentially gonna be raining. And yeah, I actually have a great story about the Pickwick last year. When we left for the movies on the Friday from the hotel, it was pouring rain. Full-on torrential downpour, thunderstorm, lightning, King Ghidorah, the whole bit.
Tornadoes in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was a bad storm. And my dad forgot his phone in the car when we got into the theater, but didn't realize it until we got into the theater. And I offered to go back and get it, laughing the whole way as I did, because it's all about the story. That's something I always say at G-Fest, is it's about the story. So I get a story for the rest of my life that was really funny in the moment. And yeah, but that's just a brief overview of the Pickwick.
On the Pickwick, just to clarify, the convention itself is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
The Pickwick movies are affiliated with the convention, but don't think to go to the convention on Thursday. If you get to the hotel Thursday, you're going to be bored.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. But the Pickwick starts on Thursday, goes all day Thursday, and then Friday is the actual beginning of the convention.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because G-Fest this year runs the 12th through the 14th.
Right.
With the special movie showcase, the double bill at the Pickwick on July 11th, that Thursday. So yeah, unless you're checking into the hotel, don't go to the hotel on Thursday. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the Pickwick is affordable also.
Yeah. Very affordable. Don't know the price for the double tickets yet.
20 last year?
I think it was 20 last year,
so.
but don't plan based on that. It has a tendency to change year to year.
Yeah.
And also, we're not sure if we remember that correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely go to the Pickwick. A lot of fun. Total tradition.
Yep.
So with that, I don't know if there's anything else we need to talk about
Not
or
to my knowledge.
clarify. If we think of anything else, I'll post another video in the time. We are less than 2 weeks away, and by the time this video posts, it will be even closer, which is great to think about.
Yep.
Because this year we get to go and celebrate the Oscar-winning Godzilla.
Oscar-winning.
Only took 70 years.
Yeah.
But,
hey, you got there.
You
And
got
his
it.
70th birthday.
Yes, it is his 70th anniversary this year. Number of anniversaries with Godzilla this year. So yeah, it's going to be a fun con. We hope to see you there.
Yep.
Hope you have fun if you're going, and I hope this video helps you out in your planning in any way. And
All right, and we're going to do a few drops from G-Fest itself, right?
yes, I will be taking video at the G-Fest when we first get there, the vendor hall, some other stuff. But another thing I wanted to point, I have a brief video that I will add onto this one from the vendor hall line last year
Yes.
that I took. And it was probably 500 to 600 people deep, and I'm not exaggerating.
No.
You can judge for yourself in this video.
It spanned the length of the hotel.
Yeah, the entire first floor.
We didn't wait in it, and
No.
we got in it right after some of the folks in the line did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, going back to an earlier point, don't
Yep.
worry about spending all your time in that line.
Yeah.
But,
That's it.
that's all we really have to say, and hope to see you there.
Happy G-Fest.
Happy G-Fest.